Everyone has opinions. Most people just keep to themselves. I decided to start a podcast instead. Welcome, everyone. My name is Peter Carino, and thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of Just Listen. I wanted to start by talking a little bit about why I'm doing this and what you can expect moving forward. This podcast is going to be a place where I come on every week to talk about different topics and events happening locally, nationally, and or around the world. We'll be covering a little bit of everything here from politics, news, current events, sports, major situations happening around us, and just general life topics that I think are worth discussing. The format will be pretty straightforward. We'll start with current events, move into a weekly topic or discussion, and then hopefully build an open and respectful dialogue in the comments section. As this grows, my hope is to eventually turn some of those discussions into live segments where people can join in and have real conversations with each other. I would like to introduce myself a little bit. I'm Peter. I'm 39 years old. I grew up in the town of Hartford, Vermont, and it's where I spent most of my life. I currently work in the restaurant industry, which has definitely given me a unique perspective on people, stress, communication, and how the world works on a day-to-day level. I consider myself an introvert with opinions, which is honestly the main reason I decided to start this podcast. I'm not necessarily someone who loves being in the center of attention, but I do think there's value in having honest conversations and sharing thoughts on things that matter. It's important for me to be upfront with you about where I stand on certain issues, like politics, big one. To be honest, I generally dislike politicians as a whole. I think far too many people in politics end up serving their own interests rather than the interests of the people they were elected to represent. Too often, it feels like politicians are focused on enriching themselves and the people around them rather than solving actual problems. With saying this, at some point, we also have to hold ourselves accountable as the people for continuing to vote the same people into office over and over again while expecting different outcomes. Too much of politics today feels like a division, distraction, and self interest. More broadly, I think people need to take more self accountability for their actions and decisions. There seems to be too much dependence on others to solve problems that often start with individual responsibility. I would have hoped we all learned something from COVID about preparedness, critical thinking, and personal responsibility, but in many ways, I'm not sure we did. I also strongly believe people should be judged on based on their character, how they treat others, and the choices that they make, not based on labels or assumptions. I do not support hate speech or using language to demean, bully, or attack individual or groups of people for simply because they live differently or think differently. People have different lives. They have different experiences, different values. They have the right to live their life how they choose. At the same time, people also have the right to hold different opinions. It's normal, it's healthy. Where the line gets crossed is when disagreement turns into harassment, intimidation, violence. That's where we, that's where we lose the ability to actually communicate with each other. This is exactly why open dialogue is so important. Too many conversations today turn into shouting matches, personal attacks, or people just refusing to listen. The reality is that a lot of people are not fully educated on the subjects they argue about, and that's often not entirely their fault. We live in a world of misinformation and endless content being pushed through social media and mainstream news outlets. It has become even easier to spread bad information. Because of that, dialogue should be about bringing opposing sides together to better understand each other and the issue as a whole. The goal shouldn't always to win an argument. The goal should be about understanding better solutions, and ideally a better outcome for everyone involved. And ultimately, this is the reason for this podcast. This gives me a place to express myself, share my opinions, and discuss topics that I feel are important to me at the time. Not because I think I have all the answers, but because I think these conversations are worth having. I would like to thank you all for joining me on this first episode. Um, this episode is more of an introductory for you to get to know me a little bit. I hope that you'll come back and join me again next time. This is definitely a learning experience for me, so bear with me as I figure this out. I'm always open to constructive criticism, feedback, and any tips you may have. Thank you for your time. Until next time.